if you give us too much shit, we'll just get pissed off and quit. So don't do it. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show, telling you everything that we know. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show. Let's go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Marvel Comics Podcast, episode 91. That is Legacy 591. I'm here with Matt. What up, Matt?
What up, Jim?
What is up is me and you have one book. Only one book this week. There are others. Me and Gray are going to talk about a couple of the side books, but me and you are going to be doing The Amazing Spider-Man. And if you are looking for a review of Imperial, that will be done by the Weird Dose of X guys. That's
they love it.
Jason and Ruben thing. I paged through it. It would have taken me a year to get through that thing.
We'd be starting 2 hours from now.
Yes, I saw a lot of crazy dialogue going on, but Jason ended up saying right away that that's something that him and Ruben have been looking forward to. I should have pretended that, oh man, me and Matt really wanted to review that one.
Make him feel bad about it.
He would know that we were lying. Or the worst would be then he'd be like, okay, you can have it. I'm like, whoa, no way. But we have The Amazing Spider-Man. It is the finale of Joe Kelly's first arc, and it's rough. Me and you actually liked the last issue a little bit more. Mm-hmm. A lot of people liked it a lot more. I saw actually the last issue was the first issue I saw getting pretty decent overall marks overall.
Oh, you're muted.
I just had to sneeze.
Oh, there you go.
I rarely have to sneeze. Suddenly something must have been like moved around or whatever, because now my eyes are all itchy and whatnot. But hopefully that doesn't happen again. But yeah, it got pretty good scores. I'm talking like aggregate score on Comic Book Roundup. They seem to be down in the 6s for most of the run. It went up to almost 8. And I didn't think it was that great, but I think that people just really wanted some action. They wanted some Hobgoblin action. I said right away that the way that Joe Kelly framed this first arc, it seemed like he really wanted to push Itsy Bitsy instead of making the kind of mystery and things like that being Hobgoblin. And when that all came about, though, people did enjoy it. So going into this issue, you had a bunch of things going on. But the big thing is that Peter's friend Brian and old Maria Atsami Milton, or OM as they call her in the book, which we will as well, they had called the feds on Hobgoblin for his crazy soda pop deal. And that's what all this is about. And it feels like there's, these kind of stories that at one point you're like, the characters seem cool, but the things they're involved with are just a little too wacky.
It's also weird, too, that the company that Peter works for with these guys is a psychedelic mushroom company, but that doesn't have anything to do with the soda that's causing problems.
And it feels like the Rand company in this bit, they're just doing a lot of stuff because it doesn't even seem like Maria knows exactly what this Brian's doing. Actually has to ask, do we have patents and things for these crazy things? Oh, yeah, we do. Okay. Well, that's cool. So he's just like in his mushroom fungus among us lab doing whatever. And it feels, again, like it should have connected, but didn't. But then also in a weird way does, in a way of trying to, it's kind of nonsense is what it is. And last week ended up where there were some books that I didn't like, and I'm assuming this is going to happen a lot. Somebody ended up telling me that I shouldn't review the Absolute Martian Manhunter because I don't like it, and I just keep saying to then why review anything?
Yep.
If you're going to tell somebody don't review it because you don't like it, then what are you reviewing?
Yeah,
you know
you're
what I mean?
All or nothing with that.
Yeah,
which
so
makes sense.
I said if I'm not going to review Absolute Martian Manhunter, then I'm not going to review anything. So if somebody ends up, oh guys, you don't like this, whatever. Well, we're here to tell you each issue what we think of it, and maybe it gets better. We thought last issue was a little better. This is preemptive because I kind of got pretty pissed off at that. But we have The Amazing Spider-Man. It is The Amazing Spider-Man number 5. What is the legacy number now?
969.
969, dude. written by Joe Kelly, art by Pepe Larraz, colors by Marta Garcia, letters by VC Joe Caramagna. Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again, but I ain't reading it. The idea of a book, especially only 5 issues in, and then you look and it's like a huge recap.
That is dense.
Yeah, and it's really small letter. Like it's because it's a bunch of nonsense. Like it has to be thrown in every time because it's the craziest story. That at the end, it's not a smart story. To me, it's not even close to that. It's just a convoluted, hard to even remember story. Me and you, before we even started, after reading the issue, we couldn't remember Brian's name, Peter's friend. I don't think a lot of people remember. Both of us, I said Brad, and you said like Billy. We knew it was a B, but we got it wrong. And then you have, as I said, Maria O.M., they call her. But have they done any character work? The only thing we know about this Brian is he was part of the Freaktastic Force, something that really hasn't hit.
Where are the other 2 in that equation? Because it's 4. I only ever see these 2 idiots.
Yeah, it's just the Freaktastic 2. That doesn't work. We don't, like you said, you don't even know what Rand Enterprises is doing right now.
And is Rand associated with the Iron Fist?
Yeah. I think
Danny Rand?
It's part of Danny Rand's
or where is
deal,
he?
Because he had a company. He's got board meetings to get to. But yeah, you end up, and so you jump into this issue. I can't remember. I'm just going to be quite, right on Front Street. Can't really remember what happened to Itsy Bitsy at the end of last issue. She's not even on the first page deal with the heads to even say that she was part of it. There's a mention at the end, but not really what happened, because you had Hobgoblin run off when Itsy Bitsy realizes, oh my God, these 2 smacked asses, they ended up calling the feds on us because of our soda pop company. Every time I say it, it makes me giggle. And they're coming in. So Hobgoblin, he's got to go and kill them, which again, that doesn't cover things up. This is where I think that Joe Kelly seems to make the villains think, first off, okay, we're having problems maybe with the soda. So we're going to end up blowing up buildings. That makes it better. How does that work? And then, oh my God, these people called the feds on us. I'm going to go kill them. That does not solve your problem. I mean, at this point, you better start calling your lawyers and things like that if you want your old soda pop to get going. But the whole play of this, when it's revealed, because remember, I said last issue when we were talking about it, this can't be the whole plan. The whole plan can't be just making an anxiety-inducing soda, because who would drink it? But that's what ends up happening anyway. Just imagine, just before we go on and we reveal the classic plan that, if a dime a dozen these plans of making anxiety sodas, but also 2 years ago making a cure for anxiety. What is going on? And also, what has happened to this cure? This cure seems to be very specific for this one thing in the soda. Is it still on the market? Like, who's producing it? Where are you getting this drug out there? Like, none of this makes any sense. But imagine that you end up, I'm saying you to everybody listening, me, you, and Matt, we hear about the soda. Me and you were talking about sodas before we even started. We talk about cereal all the time. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I got to try it. And there were points where I'll send you, pictures when I'm going to try this. And then we kind of, that one was that crazy frosted flakes, like those, like
donuts, donut balls.
They weren't good.
No,
they weren't good.
It had a weird mouthfeel. It had a weird...
they did. I didn't like it. So, no. But if I said, oh my God, they have this new soda, we don't even know what it's called, do we?
No, I was going to bring that up. It's called the Queen Soda. All the kids are drinking that.
Yeah. Like, you're going to drink that as a kid. So you end up like, okay, you want to feel like Freddie Mercury? Drink this. So you end up where I say, I got to try this soda. So what's the hype for the soda? You know what I mean? Like, things will come out and they have to have some hype. Is Hobgoblin paying some influencers to do some TikTok videos?
Drink this soda. It tastes great, but makes you feel like shit.
Yeah,
like, who wants that?
That's the whole play. And I even see there's a couple like those craft soda things where I go and I see, oh man, there's a Thanksgiving dinner tasting soda. Like what? But I'm so crazy. But when it's like $10 for a 6-pack, like where is the idea that this would ever work? And so we drink the soda, and then I say to you, I don't know what's going on. I feel like shit. I'm having hallucinations. I'm very anxious. What do you think I should do? You
drink another
say, yeah, drink another case. You would say, man, the same thing happened to me. Okay, me and you now know not to drink the soda ever again. Like, I don't like, it doesn't seem like they even set it up smart enough that at first you get a high and you're like really loving it. So you drink more and more. And then eventually it starts, because eventually then you might be able to not know it's the soda. Because
it builds up a certain amount in your system or something.
No, it just all of a sudden makes you anxious. And then they have an anxiety medicine on the market as if you're going to go one for one and go grab that anxiety. Oh my God, this soda made me feel anxious. Oh, luckily, anti-soda anxiety medicine is available. Right away, I'm like, it's in cahoots.
Well,
I'm not doing it.
What you would do is you drink the soda, you immediately make a YouTube video about it, and you might even ask my opinion.
I'd talk about it on a podcast and say, geez, this stuff sucks.
And it would be on 5,000 TikTok videos about don't drink this.
Nobody would drink it.
Yeah.
It's such a surface level thing. And even then, it's not cool. It is the dumbest thing that I've read. And I'll give Gabe said, he ended up in a capsule review he had on our Slack, said, there's only one way I could describe the ending of this Spider-Man. It's dumb. It really is. I mean, you have some action, but the idea that you have to suspend not only disbelief, but your nonsense meter. I mean, you almost feel like you're dumber even reading this if you're going to believe it. It's that bad. But you end up where Hobgoblin starts trying to stop Brian and this OM at Rand Industries. But what is he, or Enterprise, but what is he stopping? The feds are on their way. Brian even says, and then OM says, oh, he knows that. But he's like, I'm going to kill you. Who else did you tell? Well, the feds, what did you just call the feds and say, hey, I need you to stop by here? You obviously told them a little bit to get them going here that they would look into deaths. And then they might look into the idea of government buildings being blown up by people with this company. It's just like, I can imagine it's like, oh, well, we have a meeting with the soda company. Oh, no, the building blew up right before the meeting. I wonder who did that. I think there's a trail here. Also, the soda, just you see where it's bottled. You go in there for 2 seconds and they even showed you it was a lab.
Yeah, what are they listing for ingredients on this thing?
No.
What is it even made of?
That's the thing, that it feels like we're nitpicking, but it's that ridiculous a story that you have to have something, a basis of something.
But I keep getting caught up in the Rand makes these crazy mushrooms, which should be associated with the drink, but they're not. I don't get it. Unless we're revealed later, hopefully not.
No, I don't think so. This kind of feels like it's just this, well, we'll do this real quick, almost like a cold open, but for a whole arc. Yeah. And it just ends, and you're like, really? Like, what happened? Again, at the end, what happens to Itsy Bitsy?
Well, that's what, I mean, I know you didn't like her at first, but I actually miss her. I think she brought something to the book a little bit.
What it is that you actually realize the rest really stinks. But you end up where Hobgoblin, he's going to attack just 2 randos. I mean, it's Brian and OM. He grabs OM. Who knows? Just me. And then Brian's just an idiot. I know, too. We called the feds. And he's like, all right. He doesn't even pay attention to Brian. And then says, I believe you. And he keeps saying the same kind of things. It'll be easier to kill 2 people than bring a building down. Then later he says to Peter, hey, you're the one who's going to cause these 2 people. And I'm just like, come on now. If you're going to kill him, you're just going to kill him right now.
What about when a Hobgoblin says, you 2 are nimble for scientists. What do? Pilates? Oh, no, pickleball. You all the idiots play that.
What is going on? Joe Kelly.
They're nimble. Well, they're just standing there.
And also, suddenly, this Brian, I don't want to shame a guy, but the guy looked like he couldn't get around anyway. He was drinking too much soda. But the idea, I think, that Joe Kelly, when he's writing an issue, he just randomly puts things that he sees. Oh, energy drink? That'd be good. Pickleball. All right, pickleball. I'm like, what is happening in this? So you end up where also, again, what is, when you have, where's this whole soda company? Like, are they waiting for, hey, where's Hobgoblin? We have a board meeting. Oh, he's out killing people. This isn't good for, what is your priority here? Is your priority going around crazy like Hobgoblin, Or are you actually trying to do this weird business on the side as a side hustle? I don't get it. It's so ridiculously surface level. It just stops.
Wouldn't you just make more money just having an anti-anxiety medicine?
Yes,
I mean, a lot of people need that.
A lot of people. My wife takes anti-anxiety medicine all the time. But they set it up to counteract the ingredients on the deal. This is where when people will say, like, oh, my God, these people who end up doing so much work just to steal somebody's identity, like, you could use your smarts for so much better. Hobgoblin, just stop your Hobgoblin stuff. You just make your sodas. You don't make an anxiety deal. Just pump it up with caffeine.
Make them both.
Like
a regular soda tastes good, feels good, and then the anxiety medicine. That's it. Separate things.
There's separate things. You can make money on both.
Tons of money.
Just
unlimited amount.
Wow. He's already. I wonder how many doctors he sent to Hawaii so that they would prescribe it, because who's going to prescribe this random anti-anxiety medicine that's done by some guy who also makes soda? Like, where do you get this?
He shows up at the doctors and he says, if you don't promote this, I'll kill you. And he goes to the giant grocery store and says the same thing.
Yeah, he says to Walmart, say, listen, you better put me on the aisle, bitch. Like, I don't care what you're saying. I'm on the outside of the aisle. I ain't paying shit.
I'm getting an end cap on this aisle right in the front.
I love where Joe Kelly, what he does in this. This is making me just thinking of it overall as an overall. It's making me giggle. It's so ridiculous that to me, if anybody is a Hobgoblin fan, you have to just think that this just completely nerfs the character to ridiculousness. And like you said, like, where did he become a soda mogul? You end up where also they say and try to surface level it through by saying, yeah, he must have somebody he's paying off. You'd have to pay off so many. Where's the distribution? How is it getting out there? Rhino ended up drinking so many. Where did he even get it?
He was an early influencer that they gave it to, I guess.
Mean, even if it was
He's got a lot of followers on Instagram.
If he would make that anxiety, like you said, there's the money.
Much money.
He's burying the lead. Like, the thing that would probably cost the most is the stupid R&D for this soda. You can't just throw it out there. It has to taste good. You have to brand it. You got to go all these things. Oh, my goodness gracious.
And then you blow up the FDA, who's like, it's
again,
crazy.
Like I said, the FDA, and it felt as if what Joe Kelly thinks is that if you have something and the FDA needs to approve it, you blow up the FDA building and it's gone. So it just gets pushed through. That's not how it works. They're going to figure this out. And somebody else is going to come and check your stupid soda. This should have been more. If you really want to play it, we said it, I think, one of the episodes. Do like a weightlifting supplement. Nothing's checked with them.
There's no rules.
Says right
there
on
are no
it
rules.
says
Yeah.
FDA does not, check into this. You can make any claim. You could do whatever. Just do that. Soda. I think that he's like, I heard about this Prime soda that this thing just made this stupid thing up. But you have Hobgoblin, he's going to attack OM and Brian. They kind of get free because Peter shows up. I don't know what happened with Itsy Bitsy. And then they just fight. And then Spider-Man looks like he's going to die. He ends up saying, and also the whole thing with him, it's worn off. He now says, he said it last issue. He seemed to be able to break out of it, but now he says it.
Yeah, he feels like crap, but he can think straight.
And he's saying, I'm tired. He's all hungover. He's strung out. He needs more of that junk. But all of a sudden, Hobgoblin's stuck in a spider trap that's just happened. And it made me think of the Predator versus Spider-Man with that stupid money trap and that last week.
It is kind of like that. But Spider-Man got a high dose of this. Is this different than the soda, though?
No,
because
they said it was the same.
He got hallucinations. Anxiety and hallucinations are not the same thing.
And because you had Rhino drink too much, he got hallucinations as well.
Yeah,
just imagine.
Why did he have a heart attack? If it's not an energy drink. It's just so why would you?
I don't know what it is. It's Queen. It's cola.
Queen
I don't
soda.
know.
Yeah.
Again, they even say at the end, we were sending out juice boxes. Like, this is a worldwide rollout of every. How is this happening? Yeah. Now they're done. I mean, how much money did they sink into this stuff? But you end up where, I love at the end too. It just ends, and there's no concern of all the people who've drank it or anything. It's just because it seems like it's out and about.
I would have liked to have seen some video or news footage of some kids drinking it, doing weird stuff,
babies slicing and dicing.
Yeah, something to reinforce it.
Yes, but no. You got Rhino, and we didn't even get a real great connection of it. So you end up Hobgoblin is going, and Peter gets him with a spider web trap that whatever, and then says the worst line in this, sorry to yuck your murder yum. And right there, I mean, every time that Joe Kelly writes any sort of, it pulls me out. And whether or not I've heard whatever, he just throws things in, whether it works, whether I just think he looks up. What do all the kids say nowadays?
Yeah, hey, fellow
and
kids.
Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's all it is, it seems. And because when he said, it doesn't feel like you read it, even if you are whatever age, doesn't sound like Peter. Doesn't sound like Peter. And this is where there's the people who say, oh my God, I want Peter to mature and have kids and all. I just don't want him to talk like an asshole. That's all I want. And there he is. And then he says, hey, let's compare notes. Now he drops the plan. And when it's the funniest thing, when he explains how he figured out and what the plan is, it made me giggle so much. Like, that's it. That's what you came up. You're writing one of the biggest 2 books in comics. You really have to know stuff hasn't been hitting. I don't care if you have a million yes men around you. You have to know the zeitgeist of everything going on, that people are not really happy with the Amazing Spider-Man. So you have to come in hard. You have to come in big. You come out of that 8 deaths that you were a part of that just completely suck, and then come in with a soda pop anxiety story that barely makes sense and is laughable because he says, you drug Queen's Cola. Now I don't even, the way he says it too, did he sneak in what you produced the Queen's Cola? That is, it's just a weird, he says, you drug Queen's Cola to spread anxiety in a can. Here's the thing. If you're really going to do this, maybe you just go front street. Hey everybody, this soda's going to make you anxious as hell, and go for the ride. Because the way that Peter says that, it actually is probably the best tagline for this soda that you could have. But he says it's anxiety in a can. But unless making people miserable is your new thrill, there's no play there. Something that I said last issue, and I swear to God, all this is going on, and then Joe Kelly realized that himself. Like, why would he do this? Oh, I get it. It's the long con of, so there has to be phase 2. I'm thinking first you make people sick, then you sell them a cure. I bet there's a wonder drug on the market that will counter the anxiety like magic. First off, again, this would be like, is there right now a wonder drug for people who get too much caffeine from coffee? Like, this is ridiculous. This isn't the idea of curing cancer where everybody you only have one option. Oh my God, you did it. I'm taking it. The idea that people are drinking soda, getting anxious, and they're going to go to this one drug that must be marketed as, hey, Queen's Cola got you. Come and get this. The people are just going to not drink the cola.
You would go, okay, I drank a can or 2. I don't feel so good. I'm never drinking this again. That would be the solution.
I've had a lot of things that I've eaten or drank, and I'm like, yeah, I don't feel right. And some of them have been, I'll tell you, the one day I drink a lot of coffee in a day. I figured, well, what the hell? I'll get that Death Wish coffee. This will be great. I got real kind of sick, and I ended up anxious sick. Like, I was really jittery. I didn't like how I felt, so I never got it again.
Yeah, I did that. I had drank one of those red line things. A full can, you're supposed to drink a half or something when you're working out. I was so freaking like, I don't know what was going on.
Again, I
never drank it again.
I take Adderall. I have a prescription. If I end up, which unfortunately tonight, I forgot I didn't take my emergency medicine. I was kind of getting a little, but I took it too late. I'll probably be up all night and I won't like it. And so that's my fault. But I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, the thing that gets me in this, and I know that people say, well, people do this all the time, but you're basing your thing on people's like, people will stop drinking something most of the time if it makes them feel miserable. This isn't the idea that it makes them feel great, but they get addicted and then they need this or in rehab. No, this isn't like a drug. This is making you feel like shit immediately so that you need to get this other drug, which again, you're going to have to go to the doctor. You're going to have to get it prescribed. Just imagine you go to the doctor. Like, I feel anxious. He's like, why?
Stop drinking this soda.
What have you done? Well, I did drink this Queen's Cola. Oh, by the way, I just saw 80 news reports not to drink that. Try for a week not to. This whole plan just falls apart.
Unless there's
so
like
ridiculous.
A time release, like Adderall, where you drink the soda and like 2 weeks later you start feeling anxious. So you can't really trace it.
There's so many anxiety drugs. So this one's based on just curing the anxiety of this drink. It was released 2 years ago. What has it done for 2 years? It pretty much is nothing to anybody, it seems, except people who drink a cola that won't be invented for 2 years. The drug would be off the market. Nobody would get it.
No pharmacies would stock it.
Remember, this is the idea of still making money. If a drug gets put out there, it goes. It's done. This is ridiculous. So all this, and Peter's like, yeah, I'll get you. But really, once that's revealed, it doesn't solve anything. It's just still Peter fighting Hobgoblin to stop him from killing Brian and, what is it, M.O.? Do we say O.M.? So it's not like at this point, at the end, it's hand-waved of, oh, yeah, we took care of that soda company. The poor people who are like working for the company. They don't have a job. They had no idea what was going on. But yeah, Hobgoblin just runs and says, I'm going to kill those two people. In the meantime, you end up seeing these flashbacks still. Even though before it was Peter being high and actually seeing them, now we're just seeing them as flashbacks for no reason whatsoever. And, Peter goes to try to stop Hobgoblin. Instead, it's a combo because then Brian goes and grabs a green magic mushroom, throws it at Hobgoblin. And I don't want to say it, but Peter kind of says he throws like a girl, ends up throwing it. It's not going to make it. So Peter has to drop kick it like Jean-Claude Van Damme into the face of Hobgoblin. Now he's high as shit. It's like eye for an eye. And he seems to think spiders are crawling all over him and he's scratching himself. Oh no, maybe he can take that anxiety medicine. I'll have one person buying it. And then in the meantime, Peter says, you were always great at Mario Kart. And even me and you, I haven't played any video games in quite some time. It's been years. I used to be huge in video games before comics. And even I'm not a huge Nintendo guy either. But the mushroom doesn't. We were talking about this before.
It's a speed boost, a temporary
speed boost. It's not an attack. It's not something like he just wanted to get some reference in there, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So I wish that Brian called him on. But you end up. So Brian, that was his big deal. And even then, you end up where the OM says, "Hey, those were the bad mushrooms, Doc." Brian says, and she says, do we have a license for those? And he goes, sure, which means they don't. And what are they doing? What is this guy doing? It seems like everything about this Brian has been based upon writing just this one story to kind of get the beats of the story. And that's the big ending, but it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel, because right away we're like, what is this guy doing? And when you have drugs and all this going on, we figured that he wasn't on the up and up, but he seems to be.
It's like, I guess he's like Timothy Leary or whatever the LSD guy was.
Timothy Leary, he loved that shit.
He's just he's like one of those guys that just gets to do experimental stuff.
Timothy Leary isn't working at Merck right now and allowed to do what the hell he wants. Like, this is this guy that's getting free reign to make mushrooms, and she doesn't even know if that's part of the company.
What an idiot.
We don't even know what they do. We have no idea. Now, it would be funny if she swoops in and says, oh, we're going to make an anxiety drug for all these people. It's just whatever. It's just nothing. It's everything surface level to get a catchphrase, to get something thrown at somebody. And then at the end, Peter just says to Hobgoblin as he lets him go, happy nightmares, you freak. And then lets him jump out of a window. And then, I mean, this is where the building is in shambles. The roof's on fire.
It's done.
What are the feds doing? When they should be here. Where are they? Why isn't that a thing?
When they made such a big deal about it, then they never showed up.
So what are you going to tell them? oh, Hobgoblin, we got it covered. We threw a magic mushroom at him and jumped out a window. Even then, it's like he might have fallen to his death, which, whatever. But who knows who's hurt in this building? The thing's on fire. It's coming down.
Well,
There's
and
all
also
this
people were ejecting in escape pods, too.
And escape pods from a building in New York City. Like, what did they shoot them out? Where'd they go? Oh, they're in Manhattan. Oh, they're on Broadway.
Yeah, they're swimming in the East River with Kramer.
Yeah, instead of, and oh no, those things weren't airtight. They're dead. So then it's selfie time. Like, everything's fine. As they're taking a selfie, there's just shit falling from the ceiling. And and then it's done. Done. Like, you do not, like, you have a ridiculous story. You barely set up, then you just level it on us, and all these things, nothing matches up, nothing works, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we're going to have to figure out that Hobgoblin. It's a little too smart a plan for him. I'm like, really? This is about the stupidest plan I've ever heard in my life. Even Norman's like, yeah, I don't know, it might go higher up. Then I'm thinking Norman's involved, but he would be way too smart to get involved with this. Even then, Roderick isn't a dummy. And he has a kind of...
No, he's like the smart
company he
Hobgoblin.
had that he was... That thing looked fancy.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, oh man, it says, the Hobgoblin wouldn't exist if I went for me, is what Norman says he wants to help. But I think this goes higher. And I'm like, what? It says, I got the best people on it. This is where I think that it's all just hand-waved. I have the best people on it. I don't make it my mission to crush Roderick Kingsley and anyone he's ever had coffee with. And so I think it's done. I think you're just supposed to assume that Norman's going to kill. But I don't know, because Peter says, that's pretty ominous. You should try the acting. And I'm like, what the hell are you
He tells him to hire
to?
a vocal coach because his voice is scary.
He says, and even that, the cure your colleague discovered is called Zetaline. It's an anti-anxiety medicine that's been on the market for almost 2 years already. Moderately effective. So it doesn't really work very well for actual anxiety. But a definitive antidote for it.
Okay, there you go.
I love that idea where they're like, hey, Doc, I have anxiety. Oh, well, I could prescribe you this Xenoline. Oh, does it work?
Not yet. Just wait a couple years until the soda comes out.
Do you like soda? Yeah, I kind of do like the soda. Okay, well, I suggest that when you're taking this, you take the Queen's cola. Like, even that, we could, now that the TikTok videos are, I drink a ton of the soda, but you drink it while taking Zetaline, and we could see the difference. And then I freak out and jump out a window, and I'm done. Or start punching cars like Peter did.
But if you really want to sell soda, you put something in it different that makes you feel good or something.
This is my basic, I took one marketing class in college. I had to take like a business class. I don't remember them saying that the big thing to do is to get a product that makes people feel like shit. And even if it was, this isn't the idea of, again, where they say, oh, I think that what Joe Kelly's trying to do here, it's the idea that me and you have talked about some crazy stuff. And there's theories, there's conspiracies, there's all those things. But the idea of, hey, big pharma, they have a cure for cancer, but they won't let it out because they make more money on the other things. And in a roundabout way, or they're causing this to sell that, but that's not exactly this. A lot of times with those things, it's something that you can't cure, that you can't end up. This is just drinking soda. It's not in the water. It's not in the deal. And it's almost like they're trying to make it seem like suddenly this Hobgoblin Queen's Cola is the greatest thing ever. Also say juice boxes. What the hell does that mean? So it just doesn't work. And if it is as big as if it's as big as it has to be for it to work, then you're making more money with that. It's basically what it is. It reminds me of so much bullshit. It's Dr. Evil, who says we're going to end up doing this, and this, and ask for $1 million. And they say to him, we're already making $3 billion a year. We don't have to do this evil stuff anymore. No. We're actually legit. And he's like, no, I need to do this.
It's exactly that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No. And also they say they're making bottled water too. So
they're doing everything. Like, why? And it has to be huge. Like, what is this? That's like, what is it? Like Coke, Pepsi, Queen?
Well,
that's the deal.
I was going to say Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are going to have major issues with this. These guys
major
entering
issues.
the market.
That's where the thing is hobgoblin.
I would like to see those battles.
Oh, that'd be great. There's a side book.
They hire some other supervillain to attack them. Yeah.
Rhino. Rhino's like, I didn't like how I felt with that Queen's call. Oh, there'd be attack ads.
Soda wars.
You find out that like there's a big expose in a newspaper, but it's funded by Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. It's just ridiculous. But in the meantime, Peter at the end says, hey, Aunt May. Here's the other thing. I love this too. Hey, Aunt May. I'm sorry. Do you forgive me? She says, I saw the police report. Well, what's she looking at police? What police report?
You have to search. You got to really search for police reports.
What is she doing to see a police report to then know that Peter was high because of a thing that she wouldn't even know? Like, it's just, everything is just nonsense in this. He says, I saw the police report and the news covered it. He never told her that he just looked like he was high. He didn't, nothing. Even then, remember when he ended up giving Brian, he got injected with like in gas or whatever by Bitsy Bitsy. But then he gave Brian the cola can. But that wasn't even really the deal. And it was just so ridiculous. But Aunt May read the police report. Whose police report? Roderick's? Who? What police report? They said that Norman has to take care of all these. They said, Peter's? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And says, you'll never be able to push me away. I'm your mom. Give me a hug. Oh, my goodness. And then you end up getting all the feels. And then it just ends with Uncle Ben's jacket hanging up that he definitely ruined. That's where Uncle Ben would have been pissed about those patches.
What is that crap he put on the back? I want aliens or something?
Yeah. Well, E.T. Go Hell. It probably says from Joe Kelly and that stupid Godzilla Spider-Man. Yeah, what is it? I want to believe, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
That, but I'm sure Uncle Ben would be
like, you ruined that jacket.
That shit right off of there.
Uncle Ben registered a lot of kills when he was wearing that jacket.
Damn right. I mean, that's the thing. Peter then looks in the closet and he's got his ear necklace. Him and Bucky. Yikes. This is kind of funny to put through my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to actually get more anxious myself doing it, but I didn't really get mad. It's just so goofy. It just makes me laugh.
So convoluted. It's not even funny.
It's just so funny that he just could have not been the Hobgoblin and would have been probably billionaire, it seems, the way. But also, why is something that's making people sick get that big? Just because you pay somebody off at the FDA, blow up a building, that doesn't mean anything. It's just bad. But What would you give it?
I like the art a lot in this. I think it's cool. I know it was a big fight scene, and I've had issues with the art a little bit, but this one seems pretty good. And it seems like we're going to be getting artist change every arc, maybe. 5.5 for me.
Yeah, I think I'm a regular 5. A funny 5, we'll call it.
Yeah, funny 5. It was fun talking about it. It's just so ridiculous.
It's one of those that I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, and this is the thing about, having a podcast or whatever. When you have to actually talk about it. And I read this and it was enough for me to be reading it and say, boy, this is just ridiculous. But once I started talking about it and thinking, me and you both, like, it goes 80 directions of how ridiculous it is. But if you're just reading it, you're just like, oh, man, that's stupid. Mm. And you move on. It is fun sometimes to try to figure it out. Boy, this whole convoluted plan. He spent 2 years working on this. 2 years working on this plan of we're going to make, like, the initial, hey, here's my elevator pitch. We're going to we'll make an anxiety drug that barely works. But then later, 2 years from now, we'll end up really hitting it big because we'll produce a soda. Maybe have it that he was on the up. He was on the up and up. They made an anxiety drug that didn't work and then he got pissed and then made the soda. I don't know.
Yeah, or you poison the water supply or something.
That's what I'm saying. You do
have
that.
It released into the air atmosphere somehow.
And then what you have then is less Hobgoblin.
It's not as obvious.
More Kingsley, who has this, infomercial about, hey, everybody, and you can play off the ideas. There's too much fluoride in the water. Hey, I think this, I think that. Go with all that nonsense.
Yeah.
And then say, hey, listen, we're selling this anti-anxiety drug. This will cure it all. And look, people would legit say, you know what? This sounds like bullshit, but I took this anxiety. It made me feel great. I feel back to normal. And then have Peter investigating the idea that he tainted the water, not the soda. That you have to go out and buy and keep buying. Water's different. You're there just drinking it. Everything's there, and it just...
And then Peter's like getting gaslit by Roderick. He thinks he's like, "There's no way this guy's on the up and up," and then everybody thinks he is.
But
and all
you
that.
think he is, and also, wouldn't it be cool that it would be personal? Because all of a sudden, Aunt May probably drinks some water. All of a sudden, she's not feeling well. Like it would be bigger. Now it does feel a lot like a Joker story with Batman, but it's better than the soda. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense at all. I just need to see these board meetings where they're like, where is Roger? He has to be there. We have a $3 billion company.
Well, speaking of board meetings, who's greenlighting this? We're just going to poison everybody with these sodas?
The greenlight has to also be like a 2-year-long con of evil.
Yeah, the whole company is just pure evil.
Yeah, and the bottling place was just a lab, they said, and it didn't make sense. None of it makes sense. But it's fun. It was funny. I need more of these stories. Like, I need to have Roderick Hobgoblin. He'll show up every third arc with another crazy scheme, and that's what it'll be from now on. And he's just making crazy-ass schemes that make no sense, but it makes sense to him somehow. But he's always going too far when he could actually succeed by just doing the thing. That'd be good. That'd be great. He'll end up making, like, the greatest equipment, workout equipment. But then once you have it for 5 months, it like kills you. It's like, this is the great. Like, but we sold all these. We want people to be killed. But that's that. That is it. Me and you are done for this week. We're going to go off. Me and Gray will talk. I don't think we're going to have as much fun as this book. This is wacky. But thank you for joining me, Matt. Thanks, everybody, for listening to us go on. I hope that they enjoyed us talking about Soda Pop. But we'll continue on with some more books with Gray. And here I am with Gray. What up, Gray?
You're right there, Jim.
Hello, love.
I'm sneezing a bit. I'm sneezing.
You have a bit of allergy.
I've got a runny nose. Don't know what's going on.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
So apologies for lots of sniffing and slurping.
That's fine. They're used to you being drunk, so they'll end up just you and Simon. But here we are. We have 3 books. We're going to get through these pretty quick. They're pretty quick reads, at least 2 of them. The first, though, is all new Venom number 7. And yeah, this is a weird book. It ends up where it's not bad. It just is. It's got a lot going on.
It's not bad. That which surprised me because I really didn't like the last issue, Jim, as you probably saw.
Yeah. And I didn't love it either. Now we go into this, and I'll tell you, if you end up saying, well, I don't know if I want to read a book all about Mary Jane being Venom, well, I have a book for you because there's not a lot of Mary Jane Venom in this issue. She's not in it at all. You will continue getting Dylan talking crap on Paul, calling him Top Knot, which
my
is
favorite
pretty
part
funny.
Of the book.
And you get Flash Thompson if you are a Flash fan. I actually do like Flash. And before we started recording, you had said that you don't have a lot of history with Flash.
I don't.
But he had like Space Knight Venom. He had a lot of things going on with Venom. And his whole thing, I think that he does remind me of characters that I like a Guy Gardner or a Damian Wayne even over at DC. The idea that he was kind of a jerk. He kind of learned. He was a big Spider-Man super fan.
That's the Flash I remember, the jerk
and then ended
version.
up becoming Venom.
Bit of a bully.
A bully. And so it became, he had a full circle turn, and now he's just a good dude. And definitely is, friends with Mary Jane. So there was a weird play. Last issue, you end up having him sneak it around. He hears Mary Jane say and describe, hey, look, I'm Venom, in a cuck situation, obviously, with Paul. And you got the idea that right away they were going to fight. Flash was going to break in and fight. That was a duel.
I like the way he was sneaking around and creeping outside her window, Jim, peeking in, checking her out. You know what I mean?
And she even says it's a weird play because they're there, and she's like, "Oh man, Flash, thanks for coming. Hey, nice meeting you all." And then starts talking, and then gets real sad. I was real upset that you were spying on me, Flash. But the thing is, Mary Jane, you're Venom. He's anti-Venom. He has already given you a solid by not just breaking in and fighting you and taking you in because you're Mary Jane. He loves Mary Jane. So the idea, he says, I wasn't spying on you. I was spying on Venom, which makes complete sense. And then you have that connection with him and Venom, almost like long lost lovers, where he's like, hey, Venom, miss you. I miss you a lot. And I'm like, all right, Flash, calm down. And even when he says, maybe something great was waiting if I just noticed it was there. If the right stars had aligned, maybe
was he
like
hinting there, Jim, about did he have a thing for MJ back in the day? Is that right?
I think that he's also talking about Venom. I mean, it's all of that. I think it's like a double deal of it. Yeah, he liked Mary Jane. Everybody likes Mary Jane.
Everyone likes her, especially in this issue. She's looking good.
Except those Gwen Stacy stans can't give it up. But yeah, look at her. Holy moly.
I like the moments where she's switching between Venom and her. You know, you see the black pupils, the black eyes. When her eyes go fully black, I quite like that.
Yeah, I like it unless I was walking by.
Oh my God, yeah.
Me too. I've been running in
the opposite direction.
I don't want to say that I'd rubberneck if I saw Mary Jane, but I'm definitely rubbernecking if I saw Mary Jane. I mean, look at her. And so I'd be like, whoa, what happened with those eyes? What are you, the guitarist from Limp Bizkit?
Are you talking about rubbing her neck or rubbernecking?
I'm telling you, at the one point where he starts waxing poetic, she does start playing with her hair. There's the sign there. But maybe out of the whole deal, everybody thinks that Mary Jane will break up with Paul to get back with Peter. She just gets with Flash.
That'd goes for Flash.
I like Flash. So when you're doing this, it is about the idea of, hey, I got to give you a heads up. Like, I'm anti-Venom. I'm supposed to bring in Venom. But also he already shows, too, that he likes Venom. They have not really done their research, having Flash being anti-Venom in this whole Scar deal. Because even as you end up having the other characters come in to help this fight, because what he comes up with, we'll fake fight. That'll give us a couple days. It's not an ending deal. The plan is we're going to fake fight. It'll look like you got away, skin of your teeth, and then we'll figure out something. Because, I mean, Al Ewing has figured out something here, and I actually am remiss. I didn't even read the credits. I better do that quick.
I was just going to ask you, I thought I was imagining things like, Jim, all new Venom, issue 7.
Exactly. It's issue 7. It's Al Ewing, Carlos Gomez on art, Frank D'Amata on colors, VC's Clayton Coles on letters. And I like that Al Ewing has figured out some things in here. They're interesting. It just, I don't know, as a whole, it's good. But I'm not, like, it's not the greatest. This is
so much better than the last couple of issues for me. It's a lot more entertaining, but there's almost too much going on at times. It gets a bit confusing, doesn't it?
And it gets a little confusing, and I'm not saying that everything is, like, the greatest, but it's a solid book. But I'm not, like, to the point where I'm saying, oh, my God, we'll get to Red Hulk later, where it doesn't do much, but yet I really enjoy reading it. And I would suggest, right? So when I'm reading this, I'm like, I'm not to the point where I'd say everybody has to read it. But if you aren't reading it just because, oh, Mary Jane or this, or maybe you started reading it and that whole idea of who is Venom, I thought that was the least interesting part. Now that we have Mary Jane, I think it's settling down a bit to go forward, but there's a lot going on. But again, he's figured out a deal. Flash cares about Dylan. If you end up having Venom the deal, then Dylan gets taken away. He gets taken in. If Mary Jane gets arrested as Venom, Dylan gets taken, even though they're really discounting that Paul could still raise Dylan. But
top knot.
I know, top knot. It's funny because you almost get at this point, though, that Dylan likes Paul a bit, but likes to, like, rip into him.
He likes to diss him, and so do I, Jim. So do I.
Oh, so do I. Top knot. Man, it's so good. That sounds so dirty in my mind. But you end up they don't know what to do, Flash says. This isn't the end, the solving everything. It's, we need a couple more days to figure this out.
Yeah.
And let's go. Now, if it wasn't Mary Jane, say it was just some rando. Maybe say it was Dylan. You could have them disappear for a bit, but it's Mary Jane. She's not going to just go away. So they have to figure out something. So they end up deciding, we'll have a fight. We'll do it in front of the Daily Bugle. This will be great. Everybody will see you fighting me, and you'll get away at the last second. And then I look okay. I'm still part. Now, he's kind of like a double agent now, really. And he doesn't want Mary Jane to get hurt, so he's going to help.
It. Just to briefly mention, Jim, we're at the beginning of the issue. We opened up with a character I wasn't even sure of, Ripcord. She works for SCAR, SCAR, and basically their plan is to get all the symbiotes and turn them into fuel.
Yeah,
reprocessing Venom.
And the funny play of it is, you say that, the reason I kind of forgot about that, first off, I was starting with the credits, even though I didn't start with the credits. It's a pre-credit deal. I don't know that I'm not excited about a story. They're like, what's the overall thing? What does Scar want? Oh, get this. They're going to grab the Venoms, burn them down, and make them into fuel. I'm like, that's not that interesting.
It's not that great.
You know what I mean? That's
what was pretty
weird.
cool that was seeing a shadowy figure in the background. And, we find out it's not a spoiler to say who it is it, Jim?
No, it's at the end, it says. You can tell them.
It's Doc Ock. Doc Ock's in here. He's working with the Scar. And he's been watching Venom and he's getting a bit excited because Venom's acting all Spidey-like.
You know what's funny, too? When I'm reading it at first, I'm like, oh, man, Ultraman is part of Scar. Then I didn't realize you have that Ultraman look. I didn't realize on the bottom, it's fully telling you it's Doc Ock. He has the tentacles. I didn't notice them. I don't know why I did not notice them, because at the end, I'm like, when I'm reading this, I'm like, who is this? We're going to have to mention it.
It's hard to see. They're in silhouette. You only see like three. I know you can miss that.
It. You know what I mean? But they're right there. Now that you know, I'm
it's
like,
when he calls
look.
Flash adults. When he uses that word, it's like, that's Doc Ock straight away.
Yeah,
I
now
know
it's
a
so
dog when I
obvious,
see one.
right? Yeah, really. So at the end, it's revealed, but it kind of is already revealed. It's Doc Ock, kind of a cool play. Ripcord's okay. But the idea, I'm going to end up making fuel. I'm like, that's not that exciting. You know what I mean? So
it's not.
As we go forward, now, it would take care of the Venoms. I thought basically she's like, oh, well, we're supposed to get them off world, but I want to kill them. Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I thought she meant.
Stop
Yeah,
there.
say.
You don't have to go with the fuel part. That's a little odd. But
maybe she's just saying that for the benefit of Doc Ock. Maybe that's what it is, because he seems a bit interested in that, doesn't he? Oh, like energy.
It is funny.
Ooh,
yeah, Doc Ock's like, I need something to fuel my car. I'm like, all right.
The sunglasses.
To the Ockmobile. He's like, I need something like that. But then we go off to Dylan, and this is kind of the funny thing with this. You end up having Paul knows that Mary Jane is Venom, but doesn't want to tell Dylan. Dylan can't find that out. That will then compromise things, and who knows how Dylan reacts. So Dylan's like, I'm on the case. I'm going to go scope out Robbie and also Rick Jones, because it's down to those two. And Paul knows. And Paul's like, he's acting like a kid when they know what they're going to give you for Christmas and they don't want to tell you, but they do. So they almost tell you because he's being so weird with it.
He's such an idiot.
You know, and Dylan's like, whatever. And then I think that what happens in this issue, because when this attack, Dylan sees Paul being very concerned for Venom. I think that he's going to put 2 and 2 together, and we'll see how he reacts to that. But in the meantime, he's like, I'm getting out of here. There's a whole play because he's been sneaking out. He says, I'm just going to go out the front door. You don't want me to get hurt. And he's like, I'm coming with you. We'll get a burger and we'll stake out the things. And then just to piss people, I'm telling you, they're just writing Paul to piss people off, because just to piss people off, he's eating a vegetarian burger. And I'll tell you,
later on in the burger shop, and oh my God, Jim, you just knew it, didn't you? You knew that's going to be how Paul's deal.
Here's the thing, just to get people upset.
There's nothing wrong with that, folks. It's the way he goes on and on about it.
And that's it. Here's the thing: for 3 years, I was pretty much a vegetarian. I say pretty much; it kind of
I've dabbled as well in my time.
And so there are actually burgers now that are pretty darn good. They have a really good chicken sandwich. This one brand. It's great, actually. And I've even, since not being a vegetarian, I will still eat those chicken sandwiches.
Is it made from cardboard, Jim? That's what I want to know.
It might be sawdust. But in the meantime, I would never go to a burger place. Well, then again, I did get the Impossible Burger at Burger King, but I wouldn't sit there and...
I used to go for the spicy bean burger.
Yeah,
in
those
England.
are good.
We had that for a while. That was pretty
anything, good. If people end up becoming or are vegetarian or where, one of the things is you have to spice it up. Because some of the things aren't great, but it is that. But again, he's talking about the idea of, sustainable stuff, and I'm doing this for you to inherit the earth.
That's a bit that kind of pissed me off. Not the fact that he's having a veggie burger. It makes a big point, a big grandstanding about it, doesn't it? Maybe you don't care about environmental impact, Dylan.
And hey, Top Knot, You were a genocidal maniac
Yeah,
before
right.
this.
Have you
Where
forgotten?
the hell? What do you just have decided this Earth is great? Like, go screw yourself.
Excuse me for caring about the world you're inheriting.
He has
Jim.
destroyed the world that other people are going to inherit. He's destroyed.
Do you reckon like Al
So-
Newey's writing him so annoying on purpose? Not to piss us off, but like, you know, maybe he hates him too.
I think that it's to get people riled up. So it's gonna.
It's working, Jim. It's working.
People will just say, "Oh, there's Paul the vegetarian. What a dick." So in the meantime, Robbie, who also knows Mary Jane's Venom, is talking to Rick Jones, who continues to wear these Marvel shirts that for some reason really gets under my skin. But he thinks that he is Venom because he keeps blacking out, but it's because he's Sleeper. He just doesn't know which Venom he is. He's Sleeper.
Now, I'd missed this, Jim. I'd missed this whole play, so I wasn't sure. I had to kind of look into it. Who Sleeper is?
I like
Sleeper.
I
Why
like
Rick Jones
Sleeper.
is Sleeper? I don't know.
And exactly. So he thinks that he's the deal. Oh, I must be Venom.
I must be Venom, but I don't know that I know I'm
Robbie knows he isn't, but wants to know what's going on. But he can't say, I know you're not Venom, because then it's, well, how do you know? Well, who
Robbie
is
tries to
it?
blame it on you. Are you having Gamma episodes, Jim? A
Yeah,
bit like,
because,
Thunderbolt Ross
hulks
in Red
out.
Hulk.
So and he's not hulking out, he's Sleeper. So he ends up saying, I don't know. So in the meantime, you have all of this thing, all these going on. Robbie and Rick comes out. Dylan goes 2 for 1. Oh my God, they're both here. They're both walking out because they were staking out pretty much Robbie, but they come out. And then all of a sudden, Venom attack, anti-Venom versus Venom. Everything hits here, which is pretty funny.
Venom comes crashing down right in front of them, on the ground, smack. So Dylan's like, what the heck? He can't believe it. Paul's worried because it's, it's Mary Jane, it's Venom.
And now Dylan says, wait a second, I see Robbie, I see, Rick, and now I see Venom. So it's not them. So who could it be? And he's
already discounted Luke Cage and
he's
Madam
discounted
Mask,
everybody. Like these are the only two that he thinks it could be, and now it isn't. Then he sees Paul react, and that's where I think he's like, okay, Dylan's smart.
He gets it. Surely he's smart.
Yep. Yeah, I think that Dylan gets it. And how his reaction will be like the big thing.
I like
Is he
Rick
going to be happy?
reaction. He's like, that's Venom. Like, he can't believe it either because he thinks he's Venom.
Thought he was Venom. And then as that happens, you end up having, these Scar agents come in. You have Slice and Dice, whatever the hell they come in. Yeah, and they come in and they're like, hey, because what happens is, and I love where you then go back to Mary Jane and Rick, and they're talking, Rick's like, you're an actress. You're great at doing these things. You'll be able to do it. Rick's the worst. Rick's like, I wish it was live action, because he gets webbed and he goes, oh no, I am now webbed and I cannot get out. And the Mary Jane's like, what the hell you took? Oh yeah.
It's
like,
Flash, Jim. It's Flash, not Rick. It's Flash, isn't it? As anti-Venom, right?
Yeah. That's Flash there. And so it's so funny when he's like, oh no, I am stuck in this webbing. And then you end up having...
like in the background, your acting stinks.
Yeah. She's like, I like when she goes like, what do you mean? Oh, that's the play. Oh yeah. And then starts going, but then Slice and them come down and they get him out. And he's like, great. And then they start attacking. And so while he's attacking, they kind of start seeing that Flash is pulling his punches. Because all of a sudden they're just attacking, trying to kill Venom. And he's like, oh, no, there's casualty, civilians. And they're like, no, we're doing what we can do. And they're like, what are you getting a little weak for this or whatever?
Paul's
so then
panicking
he has
at the
to
same
pretend.
time. He's like, wait a minute, forward against Swan, move, run. He's shouting to get out of there. And then again, as you said, Dylan's like, oh, he's getting suspicious.
Like, what's going on with Paul?
Why does he care so much about Venom?
As that goes on, Rick Jones then turns into Sleeper. I thought to get involved with the battle with the Scar with Slice in them. But he ends up going off because now he's going to free everybody.
Flash here, not Flash Thompson. He does like a DC's Flash and like speeds off out of the nowhere. Because Jim, how does he get where he goes so fast?
He gets there very fast. Make sense. And then he gets there, and that where I don't even know that you would get the idea that he turns back into that cat.
He tagged her around in a helicopter. I think that's how they excuse it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And even so, he gets it real quick. But he's there for Toxin, all the other Venom, the symbiotes. So he's like,
he's doing a jailbreak. He's trying to let them all out. Yeah.
So he says in the thing, like, okay, I did the math. Like, there's only this amount, the budget, this and that. But all it is, hey, they're diverted over here. I'm going to go
most
here.
of the guards are out over there now in the city, so hopefully I can get in easily.
And he's going to grab Toxin and all the rest of the symbiotes. But unfortunately, what we saw at the beginning, there's Doc Ock who's there. And he's like, oh, you didn't go. And then there's a weird, like the shit-talking finale cliffhanger is not the greatest, where he's like, let me use my Italian.
Hey!
He's like, the number is auto.
Oh.
I'm like, I want Rick to be like, say what? Like, what are you talking about?
That did feel a bit clunky and forced, like, to get
it was
that
very
line.
clunky. I don't know that Rick Jones is going to appreciate that there. I should have said Dolt. That should have been where he revealed Dolt, and then you turn the page and see. Like,
Jones
I
should
thought
have said to Doc Ock, you're a doll, not Flash Thompson,
exactly.
it's you.
So while that's going on, you still continue that Venom fight, Venom and Anti-Venom, and Venom runs through.
This goes crazy, Jim. I didn't expect this at all. This actually surprised me. This was like wait a minute.
Impales Flash. And so you kind of leave. There's the cliffhanger.
There it is.
You know what I mean? Like
straight through his chest. Like stabs him Terminator 2 style, right through the eye.
Yeah, I like Rick Jones. But the big thing is, oh my God, Flash, not, Doc Ock has Sleeper. Like Rick Jones.
I know I don't really care about that. I'm worried about Flash because do you know the powers? I don't know the powers of Anti-Venom, of course. I don't know the character. So can he recover from this?
It's Anti-Venom. I don't know. It's played out like
stabbed right through the chest.
In big trouble, but we'll see. They'll say, well, we avoided this. Some weird
It's
thing.
A cool ending, apart from the clunky, hey, I'm Italian.
Hey, look at me, the auto. And then I'm thinking, like, the only thing that every time I see Rick Jones, I think about when Hulk became Hulk, because he ended up driving his car onto an atomic bomb range and then decided to play harmonica while shit was going on. That's all I think about with Rick Jones.
He was trying to be Robert Plant, wasn't he, back in the old days?
Yeah, exactly. He's playing Bring It On Home. You ever hear that live version? Robert's going on that harmonica for like 10 minutes. I'm like, come on now. Stop it. I like it at first, but please. But then again, I say that, and then when we get to Moby Dick and then Jimmy Page's solo, they have nothing on that. Those
John
things
Bonham
last
did a drum
forever.
solo for like 2 weeks.
Holy moly.
Unbelievable.
I think the guy died in 80, and he's still doing a drum solo.
Still playing that drum solo.
Doing the bongos and shit. But yeah, it's an okay book. It's not bad, right?
I enjoyed it much more than I expected. Really good.
Well, what would you give it?
I'm a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that 6.5. I could even go maybe 7 to be.
Go on, Jim, do it. You be the positive one.
I think the art is pretty good, and I'm interested. I'm telling you, I'm way more interested in what happens to Flash than what happens to Sleeper. But now it seems like, at least now, Dylan knows that it's not Rick or Robin. Rick knows that he's not Venom, and he's just blacking out. He's not him, and now we're gonna have to deal with everybody with that. And then Doc Ock's thrown in the mix for some reason, but that's that. But I'll give it a 7. We'll move on to the next book. These next will be very quick. We're going to start now with Daredevil number 22. I'll get right to the credits. Saladin Ahmed writing. Jose Luis Suarez and Carlos Nieto on the pencils. You have a couple pages at the end by Carlos Nieto. I actually didn't even realize. Oren Jr. and Jonas Trinidad and Carlos Nieto on inks. Jesus Evertov on colors and VC's Clayton Coles on letters. So we had this big thing with Mushroom Man.
And Mushroom Man.
Yeah, and what's going to happen with that? And you ended up having Matt go to pretty much, face to face. Hey, I'm going to take you down. Mushroom Man, suddenly, I don't remember Mushroom Man talking like a bro. I don't remember much. He hasn't really talked much, but it threw me where you have this mushroom guy who looks pretty imposing and everything going on. He's like, yo, bro.
Until he opens his mouth. Yeah, he's quite an imposing villain, Jim, isn't he? Pretty cool. The art's good, by the way. The art's great. The opening art, I really like it.
And then ends up like, hey, I used to have a big important name, but it was Dead Weight. So I wanted to, okay, Dead Weight. But he goes, you call me Lion's Mane. I'm like, that has nothing to do with fungus. I guess it does, but
maybe
it doesn't.
It's a rare kind of fungus we just don't know about,
mushroom fungus type
I thought it was an Animal Man character for a second.
Like Lion's Mane.
Vixen's younger brother.
Yeah, and so Matt goes, I don't care what you call yourself. I'm just going to beat the crap out of you and maybe kill you. So he's like, bro, what the hell, dude? And I'm like, what is going on with this guy? This is Saladin Ahmed.
That whack and knocks Daredevil flying with a left hook.
This seems to be like a fill-in little story. We said it already, that it's kind of there. Even though it says next issue, it seems everything's resolved, but this guy, Lion's Mane, is on next issue's cover.
It's a concluding part. I think it's only a 3-part story.
Yeah, so...
Not 19, Jim.
Yeah, exactly. So this whole play is Matt fighting him. And Lion's Mane just keeps talking, bro, and then gets really, and I hate the idea of bringing up terms and things, but really plays off like an incel. He starts saying, women are nothing, and you got to stay away from that. You're a simp. It's like such weird language coming from a fungus villain that I thought was imposing. And the idea then is just a setup that Nyla shows up, kicks in the door, and starts fighting this Lion's Mane as well, who continues just yelling. At one point, it looks like he's going to fully reveal himself, and then Nyla comes in. But what happens then is that the reveal is he's a Stromwyn.
I thought it was Flash Thompson for a minute.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, when he does this, it does look like a lot of Venom sort of thing. But the whole play is he's a Stromwyn, which was just a huge thing in Zdarsky's run, but this just feels like it's like just made up and tacked on. Like, oh, look, I'm referencing things, but this guy is such a nothing. And that he's like, yeah, you know, I own some properties, and that's
he's
what
from
the
that
whole
rich
thing
family.
is.
He's going, money doesn't matter. All that matters is pushing past your
I'm gonna
limits.
do that, and I'm gonna take care of the power, and I want this, but yet is mad because the government is making me make these low-income houses because I have all this property, and so I decided to make the fungus among us. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of a weird little story now, especially with the Stromwyn connection. Nyla comes in and ends up, I love the way that I think that Saladin Ahmed is trying to be clever, but we can't play along really either, so it doesn't really work out, I think, when she says, what is it? She says, hey, go to this, I mean, basically go to the 7-Eleven. I just like, what? And he's like, you're a genius. Oh, go to Cousins' back room. What? Like, this would be something that it was set up better. You'd be like, oh, that's the thing. But I feel like a dick because I didn't know what they were saying. Remember at the end, it's like, he didn't know. And I'm like, really? Like, the whole play of this is that Nyla says, go to Cousins' back room. He realizes, oh, God, that's like a local hardware store that has pesticide and fungicide. And then they're going to do it. And he's like, you're a genius. I'm like, I don't know about that. Then in that, you end up where you have the Strom when he goes, Cousins, what the hell is? Matt just leaves. And I'm like, Nyla is dead. Or if you're concerned, if you have somebody say, oh my God, go to Cousins, and Daredevil says, you're a genius, and starts running out the door.
I'll be right back and leaves her there. She's out the door.
Him. But if I'm this Stromwyn, I'm like, oh God, something going on. I better fight. Like, the real threat's Daredevil. Just leave and go follow and kill her in an instant.
Instead of killing her immediately, he starts talking, and then he goes, but enough talking after like 2 pages of talking.
And then I'm going to punch your face in. And that's where Daredevil comes in, and basically he solves the deal by having fungicide.
He sprays him with, industrial grade fungicide. You know, available in every Cousins hardware store
at
near
Cousins
you.
Hardware. And
right
so
now.
We said in All New Venom that it kind of lessened it for me when she's like, we want to get the symbiotes, and then we're going to make them a reusable fuel. It'll be great. It'll really help the carbon imprint of the world. Like, I'm like, that doesn't seem crazy anymore. So then in this, it's,
Greta.
oh my God, this guy, he's a mushroom, and the big solving of the case is just go get Weed Killer, which he does go get, but the play that's selling him is like, this Stromwyn's so big, he didn't even know Cousins' hardware store. It's a mom and pop store, and he's too highfalutin to know that. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know every store downtown. I'm not highfalutin. And the idea that it's just pesticide, he's just going to get Weed Killer.
He turns into the Wicked Witch of the West, like, I'm melting. What a world, Jim, what a world.
And I think that the play then is supposed to be that we're worried that Matt is going to kill him. I mean, Nyla's like, open his mouth, shove it in. I'm like, holy crap. And then you're not bluffing. I'm sorry, because he goes, you can't go to the cops. They won't believe you. I'm like, I don't know. When they go to look at both these buildings that you own and see it's infested with fungus, I think they might look into this. If they already went to his other building and ended up finding a bunch of people in the basement. Right there, the place should be condemned and shut down. But in the meantime, he's like he has to confess. The big play is, I'll pay them off, whatever. but still, he's nude. So that's what's funny. When the fungus goes, he's completely nude. And he's like, please don't hurt me. And not even just, I'm going to confess, but I'll also give him the evidence and I'll pay restitution. So I'm like, what? You really changed quick there, Mr. Pesticide.
It does feel very convenient.
It's so
it does
convenient.
Feel
It's
very
so forced. It's
really.
so forced in a way that I think Saladin Ahmed thinks that people are going to think it's clever because you just have a rando Stromwin that we don't know. This is hardly the oomph that Chip Zdarsky had in his Daredevil run.
And then, Jim, just if in
back.
case you're not sure, after that, the next scene we get, the following morning, somebody walking past a cousin's hardware store. It's like, come on, man.
And then Mac
telegraphing
I love this. I know. And then Mac goes in and says, hey, cousins, sorry about that. I jimmied open the door and I ended up taking some of your deal. And he goes, I thought they were going to give me shit. I thought that they might even press charges because, nowadays. And sorry. You effing kidding me? Hey, you took some things or whatever. You protected the neighborhood, but
you saved our customers, Daredevil, our friends.
I thought it would be
Jim.
Yeah.
It's getting worse and worse the more I reread this.
It is, isn't it? It's so forced, the idea.
So,
and
clunky.
then Matt's like, hey, by the way, can I steal a drink here? It would help your customers. The idea of this would be, oh, Daredevil, you've saved Hell's Kitchen 1,000,000 times. Like, whatever you need, just let us know. Here's a key. You know, we know you're good for it. But they have to pontificate and get on a soapbox of.
And then even Daredevil, what does he say? God help me, it takes everything I've got not to burst into grateful tears. He's trying to pull a Nick Lowe.
I said, who was he, Nick Lowe? That's the minute I saw it. I'm like, what are these people crying all over the place? Like, the idea of, man, they didn't mind that I took some weed killer.
Yeah, broke in their store. You know, he didn't kick the door down. He just did a crafty break-in. It was fine.
He just went in, and he's like, oh man,
this is a stinker.
Hey, everybody, buy local. I was waiting for some crazy thing like
Support
that.
your local hardware store.
This is why we need local businesses, so you can break in them, because I don't think Walmart would have let me. The funny thing is, like, right next door is the new Walmart, open 24/7. He could have just went in and bought it.
He could.
Usually what I know he was.
Come on, he's like, no, I want to support local small businesses, Jim.
Local small businesses.
Keep the messages coming.
From the field to the table. He just starts saying all this bullshit. But then he's there making guacamole nachos or something, because Nyla says, the thing is, he had been staying with her anyway. And then he goes, the best thing is, if she asked me to stay, she's been asking you to stay all along. And then he's like, that's what I like, because for a long time, also, just randomly, yeah, the fungus kind of, burned out from us. There's no fuss, no muss, though. We saw some people were dead. So he does say, Lion's Mane's surviving victims. Like, this guy straight up murdered people.
Oh,
and
God,
they're like, well,
he did.
A couple of them, we got rid of the fungus among us. And here I am with Nyla, and I'm ready to get busy. And he's like, it feels pretty damn good. And then I'm thinking, you're sitting with a blind guy watching what looks like Netflix. I don't think this works. I know that he can do whatever. Can't work out, according to Zach. But the idea where he's like, I got the guacamole and chips. What are we watching? She's like, I don't know. Your pick. He goes, no. I mean, what are we watching? I'm blind. I don't know what's happening. Is this thing in Braille? I'll get canceled. But yeah, he's just snuggling. That hand's starting to creep too. He's all into it, right? He sees
any wonder? She's a good-looking lady, Jim.
Also, he's jacked. When he's making those nachos or whatever, I love it where he's like putting the nachos in the dishwasher. She's like, that's not the microwave. He's like, I'm blind. What do you expect? I love when Matt has to pretend that he can't see at all, like he doesn't even have his senses and does wacky stuff. But there you go. He's bringing out the nachos and everything he's getting around. He's got some cola, all that. But what would you give this?
I don't know. This was...
it was so forced and clunky.
It was so forced. It was clunky as hell. Apart from the art, which I do enjoy, the first part, especially the first part of the issue. Yeah, this is a terrible story. I think I'm a 4, Jim. I'm a 4 out of 10, and I've been enjoying it.
I think I'm a 4 as well. It just ended like a weird play of, there wasn't much story here.
And there's still another part. I've double-checked. There's another part to this. I thought this was the end, surely. No more mushroom men, for God's sake.
I don't know how there can be. I think that the next thing, that they have a misdeal of the solicit. I really don't think we're going to get any of this next issue. because it just ties up and then says, next, enter Taskmaster. Taskmaster show up with fungus on him. I think that there's a wacky deal that this, and really it would make sense. I think this was condensed. I think that maybe it was going to be one more issue when they first did, 3 or so months ago. I think they condensed it, which kind of gets you in the idea of, okay, why are they doing that? And why this could be like Saladin Ahmed might not be on the book for very much longer, maybe. This seems weird. So we'll see whatever.
Just look very briefly on the League. One of the reviews, Jim, it's almost like taking the words out of your mouth. The review starts off with, what the heck was even that? The villain's dialogue was atrocious.
Yeah. It became eye-rolling.
The reveal who it is doesn't make it any better, doesn't really make sense, but the art's decent. That's it.
Yeah, the art was okay. Yeah, and if there was a change of art that I didn't really.
I feel bad because I say I've been getting back into it, and I recommended it to you, a few issues ago. But this was a stinker.
You son of a gun! I can read this, but we'll move on to the last book we're talking about for the night. It is Red Hulk number 5. We'll have some good things to say about this. It's Benjamin Percy writing, Jeff Shaw art, colors by Brian Valenza, VC's Corey Petit. I'll mention it even though I don't even think of it anymore. This is One World Under Doom tie-in. I just read it as its own thing. Of course, it does tie in, but it also feels like the one book that might be able to have some oomph against.
At least we get a lot of dooms in this book. Yeah.
And you're seeing that it is that play. I think that this book actually, in a weird way, even though it's so quick and just action-packed, it's giving you the idea of how much Doom is controlling the world because he's doing bad things, and he's doing bad things especially to these guys, but they are typically bad guys. And they're in Latveria, and at the end, you just get the idea, well, you invaded Latveria. They didn't invade Latveria. I mean, they were in a prison. They broke out of a prison. Now they're going to get arrested for invading Latveria. So where does it go? But it also gives you that play of, like, Doom can get away with things because of how he set it up. And I think that's pretty cool. But really, the whole play is just watching Ross.
It feels like Red Hulk. It's just one long fight scene, isn't it? And it is pretty awesome. I've got to say, it's beautifully illustrated. It's they're having fun with it, but it's so quick, Jim. It's a blink and you miss it kind of story.
Because he didn't have Gamma. They went to go to a nuclear power plant, and Doom realized this and ended up magically making it disappear. They're magically delicious, he says. But you end up getting rid of the power plant for Ross to just tell him. You have to think there's repercussions for a machine man who hacks into a military satellite to launch a nuke on Latveria at a point
Machine
where
Man
Doom
did it.
is
Good old Machine Man who was broken into pieces at one point, wasn't he, Jim?
Yeah, so he does that. But in the meantime, what the world is seeing is somebody hacking into a nuclear satellite and blasting Latveria, the home of what is now the world leader.
The leader of the free world.
So it doesn't look good, but Ross needed to do it. And at this point, they don't know all of it, but they did see on that TV when they were also where that slaughtered pig that had been there for weeks. They saw the deal of, oh my God, but they think, oh, this is a dupe. He's done it nefariously. We know that he set it up in a way that that's not the case, but they don't know it. They're pissed. Ross wants to get back at him because they were in prison. And he's just fighting Doombots. And you end
up
have
the world's attention now after pulling that nuclear missile strike off.
They seem to think that that's a good thing. Like, now the world will see how bad Doom is. But that's not what they're saying.
Get some backup. They'll come and they'll see it. Like you say, they'll see it, and they'll first of all, they'll rescue us, and then they'll come and take care of the Doombots.
Yeah, and remember, too, that prison, that thing was multi-levels. They said there might be thousands of prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to look good for Doom. But again, Doom can make things just disappear. That's the problem with having him as Sorcerer Supreme as well. But you end up fighting Doombots. Then you have Deathlock, and they're like, hey, get a hold of the Air Force. And I like where Machine Man's like, this is Machine Man. I want to tell you guys we're in trouble. And they're like, Machine Man, this is a restricted network. Your presence here. And Deathlock grabs the comic and goes, listen to me, you Fs. You better come and get us out of here. We're screwed. And they go, oh, well, we can't go into Latveria. You can't go into a sovereign nation. You're going to have to go to these coordinates. I don't know why they're playing this game, because they're just going to arrest them anyway, with Doom probably involved. So you should just say, hey, we're coming to get you. Ross would probably then say something's up, because they wouldn't be able to do this normally.
Right.
But instead they're like, well, fight your way out. I guess that if they died what did they care? Because of the
Get
idea
yourselves
of
across
what's
the
going on.
border, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, and then we
See
continue
you later,
fighting.
suckers.
And it really is just a fight issue, and it looks great. I
It's
mean,
pretty awesome,
Red
isn't it, Jim?
Hulk is going, and I'll tell you, some people I talked to, we haven't had Red Hulk in a couple issues. We had him at the very end, cliffhanger last issue. So I think this is, hey, everybody, you've been missing out on Red Hulk attacks, Red Hulk fights, and it is a Red Hulk book. So here you go. We're just going to have a huge fight, and it looks great. It's very
If
quick.
anger had a colour, Jim, it will be red. It's got some classic lines
And
like
that was the
that.
line. I'm like, does Ben Percy realize that is a thing? Like, it almost feels like it's a shit talk thing that he's making up at the moment, but when you see red, that means you're
works both
angry.
ways. Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay. I'm like, okay, I guess so something to do about you. We already know this. But you end up where the military comes in and they end up seeing this crazy other ship, and they're like, what's up with that thing?
Tell us something new.
Yeah. Okay, Captain Obvious. So he's like, damn you, I'm Colonel. I'm a general, for Christ's sakes.
I worked
not
hard on that line. You're taking the piss out of it.
Okay, general information. That's all he said. General malaise. But you end up where these guys come in, the Air Force, and Ross is like, oh, crap. So they come down, the guy comes out, and he doesn't salute him. And that's where he realizes, I'm in trouble. This is a military thing, I guess. But he's like, hey, you didn't salute me. That means I'm under arrest. What's going on? No. I want to talk to Ross. Yeah, you just want to talk to Ross because
And then
he's
Jimmy
easier to
smacks the
handcuff.
ground, doesn't he, next to this this journal wherever he is. That guy, if that were me, I would be shitting my pants
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
I'd be done. My pants would be soiled.
See you later,
Yeah,
man.
hey, I got to get going. Why are you walking clenched ass? He ends up saying, I'm here. He's like, oh, God, I shouldn't have eaten that chili last night. He says, I'm here to inform you that you're in violation of the United States Treaty with Liberia. In accordance with international law, you have to be detained as. And he's like, as what? You bend to
the
doom.
knee to
Yeah.
doom.
And says America has no king, and then throws. The thing is, Ross, you only saw one news item for a second. You don't know what's going on. But he ends up now killing people.
I feel bad for the guys in the helicopter, Jim, because he launches this huge rock at it and just takes it out, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then just starts grabbing helicopters and planes and starts going to town on them. Now the thing is, they're like, oh, by the way, we were joking about that whole Latvarian thing, but now you're arrested for murder. Like, now you're done. But he does it. He does classic Hulk, too. He throws this piece of rock into the thing. The thing crashes. You see the guy, like, that guy isn't jumping out, like, parachuting out. That guy's
he's
dead.
not A-teaming it, is he? He's not surviving that crazy
that
car
guy,
crash.
that guy's dead. I think that they would say, well, no, there's no way. The guy jumped out. It's not like up there. They weren't that high up in the first place. Like, holy crap. Luckily, the propeller deal, went down because I think that would have sliced him in two. And he's like, we're at war with the world. That's it. Oh, my God. But then you end up where suddenly this other ship ends up,
This huge-looking
going.
ship,
And they're like, what is this thing?
Dropping something down, getting lower and lower. It starts to sparkle
and they have to play the wink that it's their Hulkbuster, not the Tony suit.
No, not the suit. Yeah,
it's
it's an
a thing.
antimatter cannon.
And it disrupts the gamma wavelengths. I'm like, damn it, he just survived a nuclear blast to get this gamma, and now you're going to do this. And I'm telling you, even at that point when you see him, I'm like, yeah, he's dead.
How dare they, Jim? They zap him. He's melting. He's worse than
Exactly.
the
I thought
mushroom
it was
man
the
in Daredevil.
lion's mane. I'm waiting for him to go, bro. You're a simp. You shouldn't deal
bro,
with the
that was
ladies,
uncool, bro.
Yeah. You wrecked my smooth, bro. Like he's saying some weird stuff. Hey, don't yuck my yum. I heard that for the first time today with the Amazing Spider-Man. Don't yuck your yum.
Oh, jeez.
Like, what the hell is that? There,
Joe Kelly,
Joe
what you
Kelly.
like?
Yeah. So at the end, though, almost like that Stromwind piece of crap, you end up where Ross is back to just being Ross. He's emaciated and almost nude. He just needs purple pants.
He's got the torn brown pants there, Jim. Brown for a reason.
The
you know
way
what I mean?
and the way he's laying there, it's like in the NFL when somebody has a concussion really bad and they're on the thing where you get that clamped hand deal. He's hurting. He's in the concussion protocol, but I think he's more retired.
Thunderbolt Ross, injury, you are under arrest for treason.
For treason. He's like, treason. I was going to say, I hardly know her. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, so he ends up where what they're doing is trying to escape, but the world would see it differently. Obviously, it looks really bad what they're going with. The only thing that they have going for them is they know that Doom also has a prison, though I don't know if that's going to come into play. Though they did say when they were leaving, oh my God, so many levels. There has to be so many people here. So we'll see. But it's Deathlock has like one line, and it was great when he starts talking shit at the Air Force. It was good. And then Machine Man's doing his deal, and Ross was Red Hulk fight. It's fine. I liked it, but there's not much to it. If you ended up where you listen and you're like, oh, I can't afford it, I didn't get it, almost is skippable, almost. But that's kind of the fun of the whole thing. It's just the story it's telling.
It's still one of the only $3.99 books from Marvel. There aren't that many left, so yeah, you could say maybe it's not worth that, but I think I really enjoyed this. We're kind of having a laugh. We're taking a few jokes, we're making a few jokes, like taking a piss a bit, but doesn't mean we didn't like the book. I'm positive with this. I'm going to go for let's see. I'm going to go 7.5 for this. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm 7.5. I'm not going to go too gaga about it.
I love Jeff Shaw's art.
I think it's great.
Really, really good. And it's funny. Ben Percy, making me laugh.
Yeah, I don't know if he means it. The guy isn't too funny. But there are some things. When Deathlock starts screaming, I could just imagine Ben Percy's like, this is going to be badass. Like Deathlock, I just thought it was funny. I liked Deathlock. I thought it was great. And when you look at the checklist they have at the end of all these One World Under Doom stuff, I mean, I'm not enjoying the regular event. We'll be reviewing it when I'm supposing it comes out next week. But you also have a new Runaways book that I'm not interested in because it comes in with this. You end up having Doom's Division, not interested. Doom Academy, that's awful.
Nope.
And Fantastic Four, I think that book has taken a dive because of this. I mean, the book that actually people were liking from Ryan North is actually taking a dip. I know some people seem to think this Ben Grimm story is great. I just think he doesn't really get Ben Grimm. Superior Avengers, I don't care. Like, there's so many books. This is the one that I actually don't mind in this event. I'm reading it as if it wasn't part of the event.
It's the only one I'm reading, which is related to these, Jim. And listen to this. On League, it says this is, ready for this, number 46 of 67 tie-in issues. I'm not even joking. 67!
Yeah. We still have, we're like halfway, and it has, what is it? What the hell is it?
Well, I'm glad you got me reading this. I'm glad because I really enjoyed the last few issues, and yeah, it's just fun. It's entertaining comic book fun.
You get done, it's not going to blow your mind, but it's fun. You need some comics like this. Not everything can be a pretentious, mind bender like Absolute Martian Manhunter. Like
no, you need to read, a sociology or psychology manual to understand it.
Once you start talking to people and you're like, you don't understand it because you don't have a degree in this, or you're not a philosophy major. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of a comic book reader.
Yeah.
And this guy was talking shit on Gray, and your review, you were so nice, and you were saying, I understand people like it, but this is not for me. And this guy gets on like, you're just dumb. I'm like, all right, why don't you just go and read the Absolute Batman? That's more your speed. I'm like, what a dick. So then I gave him some shit, and somehow YouTube was hiding my comment because it was filled with expletives. I couldn't find
yours. I replied, I bit my tongue, and I could have given like 20 different replies, but I was like, no, let's just say, I just basically said, yeah, you're right, Absolute Batman's much more entertaining than this.
You said everybody,
to piss him off.
And you even said everybody likes whatever, but hey, this, I do like Absolute Batman. The guy goes, it figures, something like that.
Figures.
So then I responded, you're a pretentious prick.
Jim, our favorite argument, isn't it? It's like, oh, you just don't understand it.
Yeah, but we'll never explain it.
Start hulking out, Jim.
Here's the
Red
thing.
Hulk.
Red Hulk, you could just have fun. So I think that there are, some people enjoy the mind benders. Sometimes I do if it's done well.
Me too,
but
it's done well.
I actually like Morrison. I actually like things like this as well. That you just like, okay, this is just
what comics are about. This is what they were written, back in the day. They're supposed to entertain, a little bit of escapism, Jim, innit?
Yeah, not escape off to the library to look up stuff.
I don't with a thesaurus.
Yeah, again, I'm a guy who writes dirty songs, so you know where I lay. You know where my moral compass points to. So I like these things a lot, but this is good. It's not Book of the Week material. It's still good, though. So with all that, though, that is it for this week. Thank you for joining me, Gray, through the sniffles and the allergies.
Yeah, cheers, Jim. It was fun. You've ganked me up.
It's the wet season in Japan, they say.
It is.
There's a bunch of frogs jumping around. You got the allergies. They're pretty bad here, too. I actually had where I have that window that scares the crap out of me in this little box of a studio. And I cover the window up because I'm always afraid somebody's going to look in. But I was covering it up with asbestos. And now I think that because this is so enclosed, I think it was getting to me.
Inhaling asbestos again, have you, Jim?
So I ended up where, and it's more just a fiberglass, insulating. I don't think it's asbestos anymore. But I still, that was the first thing I grabbed. And I think it was hurting me. Yeah, I don't know.
Be careful. Made in China.
I heard that it was burned. Yeah, I heard it was burned down symbiotes. But I do have I put a. I like what you did there. You brought it back round to the first review. It was. I think that my allergies were kind of getting affected by that. So me and you were both struggling.
It does happen there, especially when the season's kind of changing. Everything goes a bit weird. People start going a bit loopy, like in March as well. It's crazy.
Exactly. Well, you mean the people commenting on your Absolute Martian Manhunter video, I think. But hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. Gray, tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, I'm still here on YouTube, just about. Wakizashi's Tea House. I'm hoping to get a video review of all new Venom. That'll be tomorrow now because, I'm going to bed, Jim. It's late.
And that's a separate video that you're going to do yourself reviewing it.
Yes, I'm also going to drop a written review on the Weird Science Marvel Comics, WordPress site.
Yeah, and all those links will be in, including Gray's channel. Go there, defend him to people who are saying that he's too dumb to, understand things. So, and I don't know. Maybe that was Simon.
I think he's true. The one thing I know, Jim, is that I know absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I love the idea, too, is if you don't like something, it doesn't matter why you don't like it or like it. If the guy's like, you're too stupid, then maybe we are. Maybe we're too stupid, but that's,
Well, at least we're happy.
I think there's a lot more people reading and enjoying Absolute Batman, though. That's the big seller, so maybe we're all dumb. But that's that. So we like the dumb fun of Red Hulk to swing it back to the DC stuff. But thanks, everybody. Go check out Gray's stuff. Look at the show notes for all the Weird Science links. But that is it. And we will talk to you all next week.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.